Hey, thanks for joining me here on 9 News Watch. Meteorologist Chris Bianchi of the 9 News Weather Center. We've got a whole lot of weather to get into, so it's a good thing we got this detailed forecast. And by the way, if you're joining us on Facebook Watch or Facebook Live, feel free to type in your comments, your questions below, and I'll try and get to as many of those as possible because we got a lot of weather to get into. I'll step out of the way so you can take a look at what you really want to see, which is this graphic. So the forecast, it is mid-October in Colorado, and if you've been here for a long period of time, you know that we tend to get kind of a little bit of everything this time of year, but I think you could say it about anywhere, but especially here in Colorado. Boy, we just get the whole mixed bag, right? The story in the initial part is going to be that storm for tomorrow, and it's going to be in the mountains. I know if you were joining us last week, we were really talking about the potential for some snow, a little bit of snow for us into Denver for tomorrow. I don't think we're going to see any snow here in the Denver area tomorrow. Even in the foothills, I don't think we're going to see any snow. The one storm that we are now kind of turning our attention to, at least in terms of the possibility for snow in the Denver area, it's going to be later on this week. So again, just kind of recap, for tomorrow's storm, it's going to be a big mountain event. Eastern Plains, maybe even a little bit of severe weather in the far eastern reaches of Colorado. Some wind, some fire danger, but the big snow and the big wind will be mainly confined to the mountains. Meantime, we get a whole lot of everything statewide from the system tomorrow. Again, severe weather, fire weather, snow, wind. Other than that, it's going to be calm. So being a little facetious there. Here's the storm. This is our troublemaker that's going to lead to all that active weather. It's up into Montana and to Wyoming and to Idaho right now. By the way, parts of the Bighorns, the Bitterroots, this would be in northern Wyoming and western Montana. Probably going to get about 2 feet worth of snowfall from this. Now, here in Colorado, probably not talking about 2 feet worth of snowfall, but we're going to get a few inches of snow, and it's our first real significant winter storm of the season. So there are a couple of firsts out of the system for us here in Colorado, but we're not going to be seeing quite as much snow as our friends a little further north into Wyoming and into Montana. Starting to see a little bit of cloud cover out ahead of our next system, dropping its way into western Colorado. Current temperatures looking at a lot of 40s and 50s for us into the mountains, 60s and 70s. We're getting those downsloping winds, little Weather Nerd 101 for you. The reason why we're seeing such a big contrast between the temperatures here in the mountains and the eastern plains, that's something to do with the altitude, but the main driver behind this is we're getting these westerly winds, and as they come off the Rocky Mountains, they downslope, or what you feel when you're getting really warm temperatures, you're getting a lot of really fast-moving air particles, right? So it's not the air itself that's necessarily warm. You're feeling that air moving a lot quicker. And so when you're getting those winds coming off of the mountains, think about going down off of a slide. You're accelerating, right? When you're going down on a slide, or you're at a water park, you're at Waterworld, you're going down off of a slide, right? You're going really, really fast and you're accelerating. Same thing happens with those air particles when they come down off of the Rocky Mountains. They accelerate and therefore they warm, or what you feel is them warmer because those air particles are moving faster and faster. And that's why it's so much warmer here along the eastern plains. Thank you for tolerating that little bit of nerd for us. Meantime, mountains again, 40s and 50s for us. Now, as we get into the mountains, this should say for tomorrow. So we do have a winter weather advisory that's in place for tomorrow for us here into western Colorado. 4 to 8 inches worth of snowfall above 9,000 feet. Also, and really want to emphasize this as well here, folks, I know a lot of the focus is going to be on the snow. The other thing you really need to pay attention to is going to be the winds. It's going to be howling out there, and especially for us here into southern Colorado. Those winds are going to be whipping about here, folks, up to 50+ miles an hour. Those typical spots that may be a bit windier, those passes, those west-facing areas that tend to be a bit windier. We could easily be seeing some gusts into the 70, 80+ mile an hour range in some of those windiest locations, but a widespread 50+ mile an hour wind event is likely. Please don't overlook that here, folks. You're traveling on I-70, you're heading Red Mountain Pass, Monarch Pass, down here through Wolf Creek Pass. Again, a lot of these areas are going to be just dealing with some very, very strong winds as we head through tomorrow. And again, there will be 4 to 8 inches worth of snowfall. You might notice that little bit of red. That is a winter storm warning for us in the far southern Colorado. That would be for the eastern San Juans. Wolf Creek, if you're a bit of a weather buff, you know that Wolf Creek tends to get some pretty big snows, especially when we're getting a storm from this particular direction. That's going to be the case with this storm. Could see as much as a foot of snow. Wouldn't be surprised if the ski resort itself, Wolf Creek Ski Resort, ends up with maybe a bit more than that. It's going to be a doozy, in a good way, of a snowstorm for that part of the state. Meantime, northeast Colorado, I mentioned we're getting a little bit of everything. Got a snowstorm in the mountains, right? Northeast Colorado, we could be dealing with some gusty winds, some damaging straight-line winds, and maybe even an isolated tornado or two, maybe some larger hail out here in the northeastern Colorado for tomorrow. So severe weather, and snow, and we've got fire danger for us in the southeastern Colorado. We do have a fire weather watch for us here in the southeastern parts of Colorado. You might remember we had that wildfire develop right near Peyton in northeastern El Paso County back on Friday. So yes, I know the temperatures are cooler. We can still see wildfires really year-round here in Colorado, but especially this time of year into October when it's just warm enough for us to be seeing that potential for some of that fire weather. Relative humidity will be very low. Winds will be high. That's a bit of the combo that we look for in terms of that possibility for fire danger. Meantime, next few hours, we're calm statewide. Maybe a spot shower for us in some of those lower elevations. Spot flurry for us in the higher terrain. Again, not a big deal. This is when we start seeing that system work its way through. Once this moves its way out of Utah and western Colorado, that'll take place later on tonight, probably around midnight, maybe a little after midnight, when we see those first rain and snow showers dot their way into southwestern Colorado, the San Juans. We'll be seeing a fair bit of snow for friends out this way. Telluride. Another thing to kind of point out from the system, you mentioned a lot of firsts from this one. The ski towns get their snow. Now, the previous systems, the ones from the last few weeks, we've mainly seen that snow in those highest elevations. I'm talking about, you know, Rocky Mountain National Park, Mount Evans, Pikes Peak. This is going to reach its way down into the actual towns themselves. So, again, Telluride, Durango, anything that's going to be 7,500, 8,000 feet or above. That includes, by the way, the San Luis Valley. So Alamosa, north here through Fort Garland, Salida, Saguache, seeing some of that snow as well. So again, it's not just the peaks that are getting the snow from this. This is going to be into the towns proper as we get into tomorrow. I'll have more on that in just a second. Meantime, here in Denver, it's funny, you know, here in 9 News, obviously we're in Denver, and we've got none of that to worry about. In fact, this system is going to have pretty low impacts for us here into Denver proper. But tonight, it's clear, it's 40 degrees. Mountains, crazy wind, a lot of snow. But here in Denver, you're going to wake up to clear skies here tomorrow morning and temperatures right around 40 degrees. So again, none of that to worry about. One thing we will notice into Denver and certainly through the eastern plains will be some really strong winds as we get into tomorrow. Now Denver, maybe not so strong in the way of winds. It's into the foothills and the Palmer Divide where we get some of those stronger gusts. But into the eastern plains, yeah, 40, 50 plus mile an hour winds. And that's why we're looking at that increased fire danger out there. And the foothills, as I mentioned, looking at some of those winds whipping about out this way as well. Denver, lesser in the way of winds. We're kind of in a little bit of a hole here in terms of that wind for us here into the city proper. But again, those eastern plains locations for friends out here into Lyman, Burlington, Ray, Sterling, yeah, the winds will be on the strong side for you. And again, the foothills will have some pretty strong winds out this way as well. The winds will kind of taper on down from west to east as we get later on through Tuesday night and into your Wednesday morning. So tomorrow for us here in Denver, again, this is a very big, this is a mountain event. Let's make no mistake about it. This is going to be a mountain event. Denver, I wish I had better news for us. We need the rain really everywhere at this point, and that includes us here in Denver. We're in a drought here in Denver, and we were kind of hoping the system would help us out a little bit, and maybe it will, but we're going to see a few showers. That's about it. A few showers tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night. That'll do it. We're in the dry pocket of this storm. So last week, last Thursday and Friday, when I was doing this and I was kind of giving you an idea about what we could be looking at, it looked like the bulk of the system would kind of graze us here in northern Colorado, and that would have given Denver some rain and maybe a little bit of wet snow. This system, it's too far north. The bulk of the system is going to be into Wyoming and Montana, and that's why here in Denver, we're getting a little bit of a glancing blow from this one. The mountains get a bit more, but here in Denver, we're just getting a glancing blow, and that's why tomorrow afternoon, we'll see some clouds increase for us here in Denver. The mountains getting a pretty good amount of snow, 7,000, 8,000 feet will be those snow levels. So again, the towns, Aspen, Silverthorne, Frisco, even Idaho Springs on north through Winter Park, Steamboat Springs, Craig, Moffett, we're seeing snow again. Anywhere that's 7,000 feet or above, we'll be seeing that snow for us. So Steamboat kind of right on the fringe of it, but looks like a lot of those higher elevations do get a pretty good amount of snow, 4 to 8 inches worth. Denver, a little bit of rain for us late tomorrow night. That's about it from the system. Again, the bulk of the system staying just to our north. I-80 on north in Wyoming, getting some of that heavy snow and some of that heavy precipitation. Look at that for you in Cheyenne, seeing some snow tomorrow night. Again, we came pretty close to seeing some snow from the system here in Denver from tomorrow's storm. But the one to watch for, if you're interested in snow, which I know is 100% of you joining us here, we get a lot of questions, especially the first storm of the season is always a big one. So I made this little graphic, right? Give us an idea about what we could be looking at Thursday and Friday. And I think we will see some snow here in Denver. In fact, I was texting with some of my colleagues here at 9 News, meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen. We were just texting about this. I think it's safe to say that Thursday night and Friday we could be looking at some snow here here in the Denver area. It won't be a big deal. It'll be a slushy inch or two. That's the way it looks right now. But it does look like increasingly likely that we will see some snow for us here in Denver. So this is one computer model. This is the European model spitting out its solution for Thursday into Friday. And it does show a little bit in the way of some snow for us here in Denver. Again, this will be overnight Thursday and Friday. Another thing is this is taking place during the nighttime hours, which is when you would typically want to see, you want to see this snow take place during the night if you want to get snow, right? If it's during the day, you're still going to get enough sunlight that'll melt some of that snow. It's warmer during the day. This next system has a bit more cold air working with it, and again, it takes place at night. And it does have some decent moisture with it. So we've got those three things that you need. So I'm fairly confident that we'll at least see some snowflakes here in Denver and probably a bit of accumulation here in Denver. Again, don't freak out. Don't go buy milk and bread. It's not a big deal here, folks. It's just a little bit of snow. And by the way, I mentioned this last week as well. Denver's average first measurable snowfall date is October the 18th. Thursday is the 14th. Friday's the 15th. There is nothing that weird about this. So if it does take place, it's business as usual here for Mother Nature along the Front Range. If you're new to Colorado, well, I don't know what else to tell you other than welcome to Colorado. This is a very typical thing for us. But again, we do see a little snow for us Thursday night, Friday night, morning. That's the way it looks. Again, you don't need to go out and buy a whole bunch of milk and bread or anything like that. This is not going to be any sort of blockbuster storm. Highest end, I would say maybe 2 to 3 inches worth of snowfall. But that would be a very high end event. Maybe the foothills, 2 to 3, 4 inches worth of snowfall. Denver, inch or two at most, mainly near car tops, grassy surfaces. Everyone's on their phones going, whoa, whoa, look, it snowed in Denver. It's the middle of October. That's the kind of storm we're looking at here for your Thursday night and Friday morning. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a synopsis. I know I'm going to have a lot of questions from you about this. So, and by the way, I'm taking a look at those right now. That's why I'm on my phone. I'm not texting anybody. I'm just taking a look at some of those questions that you might have. Here's how the 7-day forecast does shaking out for you. Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, we're not going to see any snow here in Denver. Maybe a flake or two in the foothills. Again, it's not a big deal storm for us here tomorrow night and Wednesday morning. And then I wish we've got more rain here in Denver. We're just not going to get it. Wednesday, a little calmer. Then Thursday, increasing clouds. We get that rain-snow mix, maybe a little rain initially, then flips over to snow. Then Friday through the weekend, hey, it's gorgeous, right? That is the fall weather that we're all looking for. You can break out the whole fall line of attire here over the next week, or really the whole closet. You're going to need it all. Today, you need the shorts and the T-shirt. Then later on this week, you will need more in the way of probably, I don't know, I would say jackets. Well, maybe you need a jacket here Thursday and Friday. And by the way, first freeze of the season as well for Thursday and Friday. So it's going to be, again, blow out the sprinklers, do all the winterization you need to do this week, because later this week we will certainly be talking about temperatures below freezing. So, all right, take a look at some of your comments and your questions. Val saying, let it snow, let it snow. Maria saying, no snow. And Derek agreeing with that. So hopefully that gives us an idea about that. Bella's asking about a wedding in Buena Vista on Friday. The system will be long gone by that. So let's actually go back to this graphic. So for Bella asking a question about Buena Vista on Friday. Again, notice here, Buena Vista, of course, out this way, right about there is Buena Vista on 285. And it does look like you'll be long done with the snow by then. Maybe you'll have some snow on the ground for that wedding that you're attending there, Bella, on Friday, or maybe some snow on the ground. But again, in terms of actual, really meaningful impacts, it should be pretty, you'll be all right for the wedding. It'll be cold, bring your jacket, but other than that, you'll be A-okay. Buena Vista, about 7,500 feet in elevation. I would expect those temperatures at night to drop below freezing. So have the parka with you, enjoy the wedding, have a great time, but you won't have to deal with any snow. If you're heading up there on Friday morning, you might deal with some snow getting out of Denver. So try maybe push the time that you're leaving a little later in the day, but otherwise you'll be all right. So Brad just tuning in. Mountains getting a fair bit of snow, 4 to 8 inches worth will be the general going of things for tomorrow night. Tomorrow and tomorrow night for us here into the mountains. Denver, no snow for us here from this next system. Nadine asking about Boulder. I think Boulder will probably end up with maybe 2-3 inches worth of snow from this Thursday night, Friday morning system. In fact, it probably shouldn't get into accumulations that much. It's still far enough out that there's a lot that could change, but that's the way it looks right now, 2 to 3 inches worth. But if it does change, don't throw an egg at me or anything, because we are still 4 or 5 days away. It's Colorado weather. This will change, so I'm just giving you an idea right now. It looks like maybe a few wet inches of snow for us there in the Boulder. And the CU Boulder family weekend, I didn't realize that this was the family weekend. It does look like the weekend will be fine. The weekend's A-okay. It's Thursday night, Friday morning. We're looking fine for that. So hopefully that gives you an idea about what we're looking at. And Dustin asking about Greeley, same idea. I think an inch or two for us Thursday night, Friday morning, maybe a little less than Greeley or a little bit too far north to get the brunt of the system. So again, going back to this graphic, again, Greeley, again, maybe a little bit of wet snow, some first flakes of the season possible for you. That'll about do it. So hopefully it gives you all an idea about what we can expect over the next few days. Hey, thanks for joining us here. It's that fun time of year where we get a little bit of everything. And we are certainly going to be looking at a very busy week of weather. So I'll be right back here tomorrow, take more of your comments and your questions. In the meantime, I'll leave you with our 7-day forecast. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.